A true car upfront price, dealer online, search from over 1 million pre-owned vehicles, buy smarter, drive happier. True car. Orlando Scandrick played in the NFL for 12 years, drafted by the Cowboys. And so you have some strong opinions on this. I think a quarterback, whoever drafts you, you're trapped 7 years. I've seen quarterbacks go to franchises, they get beat up, they lose their mojo, bad offensive lines. I think the Cincinnati Bengals have proven without a doubt they're completely dysfunctional. They're cheap. They don't spend the money. I don't want to see a star player go there, and because I think Joe Burrow's good, but I don't think he's good enough to overcome Cincinnati. Should he push back and say, I'm doing an Elway, I'm not going?
He's well within his right to do that. I don't think that that's the best course of action to take. You go into a situation, already a situation that you're deeming a bad situation, and it's a terrible situation off jump. And, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that will draft you just because they will do something like that just to spite you. If we go back a few years, Carson had to retire before they traded him, and they found a deal that was favorable.
They were spiteful.
I think Cincinnati it's still an NFL franchise. They have a unique ownership, a unique scouting department, a unique approach that they take, but I do feel that he's a hometown kid. He's from Ohio. I think it'll be great for him. I think he has a foundation that he's given a lot of money to, and I think that he can parlay this thing into a big, big win for himself.
Yeah, and to your point, Cincinnati's not the kind of franchise that would do a deal. They would just draft him anyway.
Absolutely.
That's what they've done. That's their history.
If you're drafted him, you have an asset, so now you can trade him, you can hold him, you can kind of force his hand.
I want to talk about tanking. I said there are occasional opportunities. We know tanking works. It got the Rockets Akeem. It got the Spurs Tim Duncan. We've seen what it's done. It's gotten players. Now, sometimes the Phoenix Suns, it doesn't work, but it's also given us Andrew Luck to the Colts. Tanking works. It's worked all throughout sports. Carolina's unique. They have a first-year coach with 7 years. He's not getting fired. They have an owner who wants to reboot. Luke Kuechly just retired, and Greg Olson, they moved off him. They could move off Cam in that division and essentially, without announcing it, tank and be number one or number two for the top two quarterbacks. Luke Kuechly retired. What can we do? Greg Olson was old and expensive. What can we do? Cam Newton, we're not sure on the injury. What can we do? We trade him. And you go 2-14? I think there are rare opportunities where you can, and I don't like the word tank, position yourself for a top 2 or 3 pick. Am I nuts? That's why I'd move off Cam.
It's a tough one for me. I'm going to come from a player's perspective.
Okay.
There are 53 players on that team. I'd beg to argue that over 30 of them are going to be in the last year of their contract this year. So they're going to play hard. They're going to want to show their worth. Also, you have young players that you've drafted that you want to continue to develop. You want to continue for McCaffrey to ascend and to, he hasn't really had to experience a really, really like 2-14 type season. You want to kind of have a coach that you want to establish his culture, and you don't want his culture to be that he went 2-14 in his first year, because there are going to be ups and downs if they do get a young quarterback from this tanking. So you want to have him establish a culture. So that's why I think tanking would be bad. And I mean, Carolina's a small market team. Not a lot of people are lining up to say, when my deal expires, I want to sign with the Panthers. So I think that you establish a culture, you weed out the bad apples, and you see like what guys that you have that are just that play hard, that fit the mold of what you want a Carolina Panther to be. And I think you go from there. And as far as the quarterback situation, it'll all work out itself. The draft isn't a foregiven conclusion. It doesn't matter how high you go. So I think that it would truly all work itself out. If you look at Drew Brees was the last pick of the first round, or was he the first pick
of the second round?
Tom Brady, 6th round pick. Dak Prescott.
Russell Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers, late 1st round pick. So I don't really think that tanking is the way to go, because I believe in building a culture more than I do tanking for a player.
That's fair enough. You buy Tom Brady to the Raiders?
I think that the offer may be there. I don't know if Tom. I don't see the Raiders and look at them and say they're a quarterback away from being a championship contention team.
That's a good point. Why would he want to rebuild?
Yeah, I don't think that. I think L.A., he comes and lives in L.A. He's got a supermodel wife who can kind of reboot her career. She's taking some time off to focus on their kids. Or I don't really see anything else. Maybe San Francisco. He's a Bay Area kid, and you go up there and you're close to L.A. and think that works for him.
Silicon Valley, your parents are up there. Yeah, I just don't see rebuilding. Okay, so I want to talk about a fashion question. So I saw this today, and it may get bad press. I think it's unbelievable. So James Harden and Russell Westbrook were in GQ, and they were talking about fashion. And at one point, it got a little, bougie. They're talking about how much they spend a year on fashion. And it says here, Westbrook says, I think James spends $500,000 a year on fashion. Harden says, I bet Russ spends $300 to $350. And I thought to myself, everybody talks about efficiency in the NBA, your efficiency field goal rating. Harden may be the most efficient shopper ever. He makes $38 million as an NBA player, $9 million in shoes, $47 million a year, $4 million a month, and spends $41,000 a month on clothes, not married, no kids. That I thought to myself, and he's like a fashion guy in the NBA. You're a fashion guy.
That's a good budget.
That's a great budget. That's nothing. No kids, no state tax, no wife, $4 million a year, and you spend $41,000 a month on clothes. Again, if you're not wealthy generationally, it sounds grotesque. What do you spend a month on clothes?
Man, I don't know.
Your highest payroll days.
I don't know. I tried to keep it down. Also, James, I'm sure he gets a lot of free things. I'm sure people gift him a lot of things.
I heard that this morning.
Joy, how much you spend on clothes, Joy?
How much do you spend?
I do not spend $500,000 a year.
What do you think you spend $1,000 a month on clothes?
Easy.
1,000? No, definitely not.
Some months you spend 2?
No.
You don't?
No.
So who's buying all these
Well,
nice
I don't wear.
purses?
First of all, I wear sweatpants every day. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to put sweatpants on and go about my day. Sweatpants and sneakers.
Mails it in by 12:15.
Yeah, I mean, fine. It's fine.
She had a minivan.
What about
Style of
all
my
these
life.
nice purses that I see you with?
I don't have a lot of
I'm just
purses.
kidding,
I'm seriously,
Joy.
I don't spend a lot of money. And then I get dressed here, thankfully. Fox, we have a wardrobe department.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really spend that much.
No.
But these are fashion icons.
That's
They're
right.
on the cover of GQ. So to spend, what is it, for $40,000 a month when he makes $4 million a month
is a fashion sports icon. He spends $300,000 a year on clothes.
That's a good budget.
That's very reasonable.
I was like, I thought these guys all spent $1 million a month on clothes. A month. I thought they were just, you watch these guys. It's like, if I had that money and not married, no kids or something, I guess I'm not a clothes guy.
That's max cash right there.
In your history in the NFL, was there ever a teammate you had that you thought spent big money on fashion?
I don't know, because I tried to stay out of other people's pockets. But, you look at some of these clothes that people wear.
Cam Newton.
I'm sure. But I don't know. I don't count other people's money.
That's a good way. That's what they say.
But like sneakers alone, sneakers are very expensive.
How much do those shoes cost? I'm in your money.
These?
Those are Louboutins.
About a rack or two.
Yeah.
What? Say that again.
Like
About 1,000.
around
A rack or two?
Yeah, 1,000 or 2,000, depending.
Wow, for those shoes. Take a close up of those shoes. That is unbelievable.
These gonna last.
Hold
though.
on. You want to see how much these cost? I got these shoe shine the other day in the Salt Lake City airport. You know what they cost me? $64.
That's a good budget right there.
I'm so proud of it. I've had them shoe shine 7 times.
Hey, you know what they say?
Those shoes cost you a grand.
Probably about 800.
Lord, that is.
1,000 with tax, maybe.
Does it honestly, when you walk around, does it feel a little? Give you a little. It feels pretty.
But I don't spend money on shoes that often though.
Okay, that's all I'm saying is it's impressive. In a respectful way. By the way, Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades last 2 times longer. Get them at Walmart. Repels, snow, rain, sleet, ice, the hurt.